Welcome back, Juventinita, to the Juventinita, back to Black and White podcast. My name is Daniel Negro. I'm live from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And today we're going to be kind of mixing it up. It's going to be news, maybe talk a little bit Lyon, bring that back up. I know I was supposed to have my guest on before for the preview, but that was a busy day of work, and unfortunately I passed out, and we didn't get a preview out to you guys. So we do have him on again, and I think it's gonna be a good show. We got a lot to cover, so let's see what happens. Um, just in terms of what's been going on with me, it's been crazy. Lots of love. Thank you guys on the 300 subs. We're gonna get that Del Piero jersey wrapped up, and then obviously we're gonna be going. Keep dropping the the different edits that we got coming down the line, the news and more to come. So thank you guys again for all the support. I appreciate it. And yeah, finally we get this guy in the light. Um, Unfortunately, maybe you didn't get to see him last time just because of the lighting circumstances, but it's all good. James, thanks for coming on again, man. I appreciate you putting up with me this week, and welcome back on the show.
Not a problem. And for everybody watching, last time I was hiding in the dark in my patio to get away from the kids. So you guys can hear the background noise. That's the kids in the background. I'm a father of six, so I know a lot of people do this well. So I got two down. Two were down and woke up again, and now they're running all over the place and followed me to the basement here. So I apologize to anybody out there, but uh, this is Juventina. They know. I try to tell them to be quiet so we can get this going.
That's okay. It just gives us background noise. It sounds like the Merda fans and the Inter little the Real Madrid or the CR7 fans, little crybabies in the back, right? The little children's voices. So, but anyways, guys, yeah, let's get right into it. We'll get obviously into the game. I mean, what were your thoughts, going into it, and then coming up against a team that we don't know what they're going to come out like. Obviously, we've seen uh, some friendly slash cup finals that they have. They have about 50 cup finals in France. So that was played out during the couple weeks before we had to play Juve. But uh, what did you think of the whole game,
So
Jim?
going into the game, I felt confident that we're gonna win this one. As you mentioned, the French league during COVID they canceled their league, and these guys hadn't had any game action except for that cup final and a few exhibitions where we were playing throughout. So I thought that was going to give us an advantage. And then just looking at the team from one side to the other side, we are a better team. And then you have the Ronaldo factor from last year. Um, he put the team on his back down 2 goals to a superior team, and we came back and won. So I felt pretty confident going in, and fortunately, that's not how it turned out as the game went.
Yeah, exactly. And you get into it right away. Like I said, with our lineup was pretty much set, being Dybala being injured, right? Then you have obviously some incidents during the game, and we can get into those. Um, you know, what did you think about that penalty on what was supposedly everyone thought it was Bentancur foul, but then essentially turned into, well, no, it's a Bernardeschi tap, if you even want to call it that, on the back of his shoulder. But what did you think,
So
man?
yeah, so I watched that replay, like probably everybody, and even the commentators. The commentators thought it was uh, Bentancur, and they were saying there's no way that's a foul because it was a clean tackle. Then when they started doing the wider shot and kind of played that angle, and they were saying it was Bernardeschi, even then, I really didn't see it.
Yeah,
So I was like, when they called it, I for sure thought the VAR was going to overrule that,
yeah.
and that you know, it just seems to be our luck in the Champions League.
There you go. Even your daughter was like, "Yeah, no,
Yeah.
what the hell was that?" But anyways, yeah. So I mean, I think it was clear when you have that go down, and then you see the handball that was given, which was also comical.
Another question one, and
Um,
as you said on your last podcast, going to the hockey reference,
yeah.
yeah, that was your even up call.
Well, exactly, and it's like, why should there like? I hate when that's one thing about refereeing that I can't stand. When you make a stupid decision and then you have to somehow, dip your hands and dip your toes into the pool when really you shouldn't be in the pool in the first place. So it's like, don't get involved when you don't need to get involved. Make the right calls when they need to be made. And that's it. I mean, that's your job. Like, that's all you need to do. And, you look at kind of what happened after and kind of how scrappy it was in their game against Man City. And, like I said, I wasn't shocked about that. We'll get into the kind of what's been going down, but in terms of just essentials, like I said, the lineup was pretty much what we thought it was going to be. It was unfortunate with Dybala not being able to kind of have a run out, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, he's injured. You can't. That's what happens when you carry the team the whole season and then something goes. I mean, it's almost like it was a storybook, kind of how that was supposed to happen, where he gets injured in that last in the games prior, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, oh well, this and that, and then a whole bunch of news stories comes out, which we're gonna cover because there's a lot that I have to catch up on, guys. Just over the past week, it's been ridiculous, and I've been kind of detailing it on Twitter, at least for with certain edits, but for the most part, we haven't had a chance. Obviously, the last one was a fan focus, and I appreciate all the love that you showed that video, and even the one with Albert, kind of the ending of the season, so to speak. But yeah, it's interesting. It really is interesting. Kind of comments on Ronaldo in the game.
Well, we saw the Ronaldo, um, his second penalty shot. You know he's going to step up
Right,
and bury it, his record with us has been fantastic throughout the last two seasons. And then his second goal was that individual moment of brilliance,
right.
and so he did his part. I mean, he missed another header later on, but there's only so much one guy can do out of nothing. Um,
Okay. I think that's an
uh,
inter- I think that's an interesting take. I think for me, what it comes down, the reason I say that is because you look at, kind of the arguments that have been made. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk on, oh, is Dybala going to go, or is there going to be Ronaldo goals, or is it just BS in the news, whatever, right? And to me, you can't necessarily. Obviously, we had Bernardeschi who had a massive miss. That should have been scored easily. You have some free kicks that were kind of awful, and you have multiple like free headers. One from obviously Bonucci, another obviously from Ronaldo that clearly should have been scored. So you look at this game in a sense, and even the statistics. I mean, we dominated really the possession. 16 shots, but only 6 were on goal, which is pretty sad. We had about 33 crosses in the whole game. I mean, that's like unprecedented. To not come out with a victory. Well, obviously we came out with the victory, but not necessarily the progression. So I know a lot of people have been discussing, what's going to happen with the away goal and should it be a thing, and I think you have to kind of keep that because it keeps you in check in terms of not playing a shitty return or home
mhm.
fixture. And really, when you're able to do that, when you have that rule, yeah, it sucks when you get the bottom hand of that, but when you get the upper hand of that on that, I mean, no one cares. So it
Yeah,
only matters. It only matters when you lose, right?
and at the end of the day, the onus was when we were in France, we didn't score,
Right.
and that game came back to haunt us.
Yep. Exactly, and that was really I think that's really the reason why you get knocked out in a sense like that is for having such a poor leg there. And again, you didn't score, and now you're leaving it in the hands of a rule that is currently existing. So, yeah, I think it's I don't see that being a I don't see that getting taken out. What are you thinking about these? Okay, so actually, sorry, we'll get back to that. What I was trying to say about Ronaldo, and a lot of fans out there were saying, well, kind of the same opinion, right? Oh, how much more could he do, and this and that. I gotta disagree in a sense. We pay the guy 31 million. These are his moments. He scored all seven knockout goals, right? Works out to about 8.8 million a goal, really. If that's what we're looking at, you could say Serie A. We're not winning Serie A because we need Ronaldo, and I mean he scored a lot of goals. A lot of those were penalties. We're not winning Serie A because of him. Um, Ibala has been phenomenal and has pretty much carried this team to an MVP winning season. And you look at what a lot of the fans are saying, and like, oh well, he was the only one who was trying and this and that. I mean, sure you can make that point, but when there's a free header in whatever minute that was, what was it, the 75th minute? So you're still 15 minutes away from game time, and you have a free header to win. That's the moment that we're paying you for, to
Yeah,
convert in those moments, right? There was also, like I said, a free kick, and I talked about this on the last podcast. There was a free kick that he had, and I mean, anyone, like I said, with a football IQ would have realized there's a mismatch in the box. I've only scored one out of like 700 million free kicks. Maybe let's have a look over there. Maybe fake the kick or whatever and put one in and see what happens. I mean, to me, that was like maybe I don't know. Maybe again with the TV view, sure you could say, oh well, you have a better advantage. That's fine, but it was a clear mismatch on that free kick, and I was screaming. I'm like, he's gonna take it. He's gonna take it, isn't he? He can't see those guys, and then he ends up hitting the wall, and it's
yeah,
just it's frustrating. It was a culmination of uh, of kind of everything that kind of coming to an end, and a lot of people online are saying that they're happy that this is all over. Kind of move on. It's been a long season. Obviously, Sadi gets sacked the next day, and Pirlo gets brought in. So, speaking of, let's say, the news in a sense, we can start right there. And obviously, Pirlo gets brought in, and Sadi gets sacked. So, what are your thoughts on those two decisions? Obviously, get into the Sadi first, and then Pirlo next.
okay. So, Saudi, my opinion, he was never their first choice for a manager at the start of the
Right.
season. There was a lot of rumors that were floating around, and this is my opinion. I don't got all the facts, not an insider or anything like that. What I believe happened was
Well,
Ned,
everybody's an insider until they're wrong a few. You know what I mean? Everybody and their
yeah,
uncle knows some form of news and this and that. But anyways, go ahead. Go ahead,
yeah.
James.
So what I think happened was they let Allegri go with the full intention that they were going to get Zidane.
Right.
Zidane pulls the monkey wrench in their plan and resigns with Real, and now they're scrambling. I think they made an offer to Pep. Pep said thanks, but no thanks. I got to stick it out one more year. Conte came with an offer. I think Nedved wanted Conte
Okay, there you go.
because that's what I heard, something like that. I think Nedved wanted to bring Conte back. I think the Senators on the team also wanted to bring Conte back, but uh, um, the president just basically, Anelli just basically said, no, he pissed me off the way he left. I'm not bringing him back. So now they sent, okay, who do we got left? And that's how Sarri came. He comes in. First thing he does is has ammonia, so he can't even do a
Yeah.
training session. And then we're hearing And I always felt this too with his press conferences. The guy he wasn't polished at all. For somebody
No.
he was supposed to have Serie A experience, coached in England, it was not polished at all. And just this, like, if you take a press conference going through our last run, when you heard Conte speak, you can see the players rah 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 behind him. When you hear
Yeah.
Allegri speak, you can see that the intelligence behind his words of why he made certain decisions. When Sarri spoke, you can tell he was just speaking for himself. He wasn't speaking for the
Yeah.
team. And I don't know if you saw that report that he lost the team in the preseason uh, ICC tournament when at
Oh.
halftime he came in and says, "I can't." When they were losing to Tottenham, and said, "I can't believe I lost the Scudetto to to these guys." And that's what I had heard. And so he lost Collini. When you lose Collini and Buffon right off the bat, you're in trouble. So I think that was it. The other one I heard was in practice he was screaming to do two touches to Ronaldo, and that didn't go well. So I do think the team coached themselves for the majority, and you can hear it on those empty stadiums.
Yeah.
Whose voice did you hear when you watched an Inter game? Whose voice you heard Conte screaming his ass off? When you watched the Juve game, who was screaming? Who's Buffon?
Yeah.
Like, what's the coach doing? So the decision for him to leave, I fully support it. Um, he did not work out. He was brought in to bring a certain style of football. He didn't. We, I mean, if you compared last season to this season, at least with Allegri, we did not leak goals in the back. When
Yeah.
we had a lead, it was a done deal. That was not the case this year. So sorry, take your cigarette. You got a Scudetto medal. You can retire happily. Go back to
Yeah.
banking. There's the door. And the decision for Piero, that one caught me off guard.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Tell
But
me, man.
he is somebody that has the football intelligence that not too many people have. Um, I had bought his book from ages ago, and I had
Yeah.
read it front to cover in like one day. I've read it maybe about 4 or 5 times already. Pulled it out again
There
this
you go.
this week when it happened. Uh, he is going to bring a sense of calmness to the players. So I know that. Who's going to teach Ronaldo how to do free kicks? Oh, we got a guy now. So that's the one thing that I think we're going to see a lot more of. We're going to see Ronaldo actually hit some free kicks next year.
Oh, I hope so,
Uh,
my friend. I hope so.
and I think the other right off the bat too, and one of the reasons why he got the nod to go is he's got the respect of the Senators.
That's true. I think that's very. I think that's going to be an interesting situation next year or this upcoming season, which really we're less than a month away now, guys, and just it's crazy how fast time's flying. So
Check your butter on potty.
I think what's going to happen is I think you're going to see a lot more support from the player. Like you said, I think with Sari, it wasn't. We found out that he wasn't the kind of coach that we probably thought he was. At least I didn't think he was going to be this disjointed throughout the whole season. I mean, at the beginning, okay, whatever. You're kind of finding your way with a new team, but yeah, I mean, in terms of the players, I mean, you could tell it was really even at the end when there was only, I believe it was Dybala and Bonucci that had
Farewell messages for him.
farewell messages,
Yep.
and really, that's really pretty much says all you can, all there is to say about that. Um, and yeah, I mean, I wasn't necessarily disappointed in that. I mean, I would kind of understood. I was shocked because it was the morning after, but when it comes down to who they hired, yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna get into. It's gonna be interesting. I mean, the guy does have a footballing IQ like you could not believe, but I think it goes into more than that. I think experience in a coaching role is pretty significant. Now we'll see, obviously, what happens. I think personally it could be a rocky start for us, and I hope that just doesn't turn things into a really bad place. But I think it's going to be interesting. I think Ronaldo was a massive factor in getting rid of Saturday. Maybe
Yep.
not bringing in Pirlo, but in him going, I think that's something to be said. But anyways, in terms of what's been said so far, we'll kind of go down the list. For something Paratici, we was kind of talking about as soon as it happened. The days following, they said that the Pirlo decision was very natural, very Juventus, which I'm not really sure what he means by that. Especially when it's such a gamble. Picking someone who isn't, it's not like you're picking someone who's won the Champions League multiple times as a coach. We're someone that hasn't coached a game in his life, has played the game, is a legend of the game, but uh, I guess they're predestined. I don't know if they have this, Zidane mindset, like they think he's going to turn into what Zidane has done. I think it's a lot of wishful thinking from the club. I mean, I think they thought Ronaldo was going to be, Lord and Savior in that final piece, and I thought that was wishful thinking. Um, and now I hope they're not doing the same thing with this Pirlo move because there's going to be divisions across the line of if it goes south at any point during this next season, especially it being the 10th season, the 10th consecutive season where we could win. Um, and if you kind of bow out on your ninth, that's really and let's say Champions League doesn't go the way we want, that's going to be a tough pill to swallow, I think, for a lot of fans. Um, but anyways, you know, they talk about Sadi with he talks about Sadi with being, assessments before the match. It kind of clearly with all the interviews that we got into with Albert, it seemed clearly that they kind of had their idea of what they wanted to do anyways. I think the only thing that really could have saved his ass was maybe going on to win the Champions League or a deeper run than what and a better showing than what we saw. Um, if he maybe makes the final or he makes the semis, I think there's a lot more hesitation than going out to Lyon. I think there's a big difference, but I mean that's something that obviously didn't happen, so it's really assumptions to say any more or any less on that. They said it was a choice of the entire season. Sure. I mean, Allegri won a Supercopa more. Sure, we let in less goals, but our D is a lot older or is aging with the exclusion of Delict, who's also a newer player. So you're gonna expect also we're in more of an attacking, style or formation. So you're gonna leak more goals. Now, when we look at, you know, he talks about, we made two Champions League finals with about seven changes. Real won them by making only one. An incredible cycle. I mean, really,
Now, yeah. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at the cycle, right? So we've won 9 straight.
right.
Now, of that 9 straight, you have three sets of coaches that have come in, but you also look at the players and who's gone out and who's come in. So what started our first cycle? There was a lot of things. You had Conte, you had Pietro come in. Vidal was in that first season. Lichtsteiner, like they were the ones that came in and were that core. Uh, Next season, they could have easily fallen apart when you lose a captain like Del Piero. It's still built on it.
Yeah.
Then season 4, Conte leaves. and now you have Allegri come in, basically taking Conte's team to the Champions League final with a couple key pieces that Conte never had, which was Evra.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I
And
think at the year two, you got to remember we're at about 4 years in with really the same team, and it's not like he did too much to mess with Conte's system. Maybe tactically, he was a little bit better in terms of what decisions he made, in terms of substitutions and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I think it was very much a Conte team that went
it
to
was
the
still
finals.
the core was still the Conte team. You had Evra that came in, and the other key piece that came in was Lorette. So that you had
Yeah,
that big center, which is an upgrade over Machi, right? So
yeah. Well,
that's your season 4. Season 5, Pietro retires, so now you lost your midfielder,
yeah,
and that not too many people can survive losing a player like that. Just ask Milan.
yeah.
And
Well said.
then that season we didn't bring in Pjanic. Marquisio dropped into that position, but Tevez left. So now you lost another key part. So
Yeah,
these are big guys who are leaving. The following season you lose Pogba and bring in Pjanic, and then the
yeah,
following season you bring in Higuain.
yeah,
Uh, no, actually, Pogba left that season for Higuain.
yeah,
So there's a lot of times where on that team you can say that they've hit the reset button, and it's another cycle. So when he says that piece about we've had this cycle for 9 years, it's true. In that 9 years, we've had maybe 3-4 mini cycles already.
yeah.
So I mean, it's not being unfair, but how do we get past the next stage? So our peak was under Allegri, where we won four straight Coppa Italias and the Scudetti, plus you had your 2 finals. What
Yeah.
brings us over the hump? And that's where I think financially where the change happened. The Ronaldo opportunity came up.
See, the only thing that
We were slow building there. So when that
yeah,
Ronaldo opportunity came up, they went all in on it, and that messed up a whole bunch of other things on the back end, because what
oh
we
yeah,
were doing is we were going and signing these players on free transfers or Bosmans, whatever you want to call it.
yeah,
But then we were also overpaying them as well in terms of salary for them. But then we never really sold them after.
no,
We gave them that, hey, you want to leave? Let's leave together. We'll rescind the contract and everybody's good. And they were looking to kind of create this environment where you get those veteran players to come and finish 2-3 seasons in. But that all changed when the Ronaldo signing came in, because now it made those contracts our albatross.
yeah.
And with financial fair play, and now with COVID, that's going to be another hit. That's why you're hearing people talking about, hey, do we sell Dybala for the Plusvalenza? They would never be talking about this 3 years ago.
No, but
Agree with that?
there you go. But you know what the funny thing is to me, the only thing that I disagree with what he has to say is like, okay, that's fine. You made the assessment over the whole season. We talk about the cycle. Now, they talk about Real Madrid. They said they only made one change. Well, I think he's talking about obviously the squad in terms of they won 3 in a row, back to back to back. So you're gonna have a very similar team, and when you've actually built that team, obviously Ronaldo being there at the beginning, that helps you in so many different ways. We're taking on a Ronaldo now, like immediately. Okay, go. And again, I think there was a lot of overachieving with Juve. There was a lot of moments where maybe we shouldn't have won, and we overachieved in the sense where we're getting to finals or we're getting to semifinals. So I think to me, to look at it this way, it's a real gamble. You know, only a few days before, um, Agnelli was talking about Pirlo as being, you know, the second team is going to be a stepping stone, and you need to earn the first team as a coach. So, was it a shot in the dark? Was it a realization that maybe there really isn't a manager right now that we want to, you know, pay for? You look at Pochettino being the option with, you know, maybe 12 million, maybe 15 million a year, whereas Pirlo is only going to be looking at, I think, 1.8 has been reported by Corriere dello Sport. So, um, you know, it was difficult for Sarri. You know, there was no real empathy even with the fans, I'd say. Um, but I don't know. What do you think about Agnelli? You know, he says it's a choice more than a gamble, the scent of the future.
Yeah. So
Pirlo brings a little bit of an enthusiasm where, you know, obviously being a coach that is respected, but you know what happens, you know, he can't be this friend coach, right? Like Chiellini's going to be coming back at some point. Bonucci is the way he is. We have guys in the wing like Demiral and De Ligt. But how do you see it with that?
yeah, so I think they're going to surround them too with the support staff. So it looks like they're bringing in. I thought I heard it was finalized today that they're bringing in Tudor to be one of the assistant coaches. So in Piero's book, he does talk about how he hated training.
Yeah,
So is he going to be the one who's going to be like screaming at the boys to do the running? No, he's not
I'll
going to
be
be the bad
shocked.
guy.
Yeah,
Here comes Tudor. Tudor will be the bad guy. He's that center back. He's the guy who's going to, you know, potentially bring De Ligt to the next level. Um, so you have that. Then I read somewhere as well that Marcello Lippi is coming back as some sort of advisory role.
oh, okay, breaking news, guys, hot take. I didn't hear that. I haven't heard
So
that, so yeah.
I read that. I think it was Ivan Groh who posted that somewhere. So if that's the case, and just look at that 2016, how many of those have become coaches now?
Oh yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
right.
Exactly.
So uh, that's that winning mentality. When you win a World Cup, that you can bring forward. So I'm not, you know, is he going to be too nice to his people who are teammates? Well, you can say, well, Conte was in that same position too. He was coaching Del Piero, who was the person who
True.
took his armband.
Yeah.
And he was on the same team as Buffon. I don't think that was a factor. And in Piero's book, he does talk about a lot of the respect he had for Conte and how he never even thought of coaching until he saw what Conte did. So does does that mean you know, Conte came for season, won a Scudetto? Does that mean it's going to happen for us? You know, I hope
I hope
so,
so.
and I also think too that he's got a lot of a better team and core that
True. Yeah, from where we
that
started. Yeah.
where we started with, because we have a group of winners right now.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what you need to do to win, and I think it would have been Bala's first year. So that would have been Max's second, where we were down 13 points, and the senators of the team uh, had that meeting,
Right.
closed door meeting, where they said, "Hey, we want to win again."
Yeah.
And I think that happened far too often this season, where Coach Gigi had to step in. So
I'm sure, man. I'm sure. Obviously, there was reports of Cristiano leaving, like I said earlier. Um, you know, I think he sees something in Pirlo. Maybe he's thinking with Zidane. I mean, again, there's a lot of BS that goes in and around. You know,
it's a crazy time, crazy
it
summer.
seemed it seemed like Gazzetta and, you know, Monblano and all these guys. They're all feasting for a week of clicks that, you know, now it seemed to have died down today. But everybody got their feast of news, and now we're on to another thing. Now it's been confirmed. Oh well, Paulo's probably going to stay, and there that was never really a thought, or Cristiano was going to stay, and that was never really a thought. So it's funny, this is why I stay out of this for the most part. Um, Even the thought, we'll get into that. Even to the thought of that of keeping Ronaldo over someone like Dybala was mind blowing to me. But that's kind of one of the topics we'll keep to the end of the show. But
Okay.
obviously, transfer market strategy, I think it's going to be completely different. You're not going to hear the likes of Jorginho anymore. Maybe not even Emerson. Tonali, I think Inter's still ahead of the pack.
Yep.
Zaniolo, with a new president, I don't see it happening.
No.
That would be, I think, that would kind of turn the fans. And as a new owner, I think they're going to be smart enough to do that, to not mess with that, at
To
least for
avoid it
this
for
season.
this season. Yep.
Maybe next year we'll see. We got to see what happens, right, in terms of standing and who makes what, position, and where Roma's at the next end of the first year with the new presidency. But and then obviously, so Locatelli could be an option. Obviously, Wade from Lyon, but that seems to be a little bit more expensive. Obviously, with their run to the semifinal. Um, and then obviously De Ligt, another big talking point. His surgery, he was finally able to get, operated on his birthday. Surprise! What a way to celebrate a birthday! Getting your shoulder operated on, and it was successful, and it seems like everything's going smoothly. Still, he's going to be out for about 3 months, so that's something that Pirlo is going to have to deal with, right? Not having a Chiellini who's prone to injuries, but as well not having a big player, massive player in De Ligt with such a huge impact used throughout the if you want to call it the early stages of Pirlo's coaching career. And I don't know, maybe it'll be helpful because he'll get guys that he's used to in Chiellini and Bonucci, but we'll see how that plays out. There's still a lot to
Yep.
talk about.
And to see what formation he comes
Right.
into use,
That's
and that's the other big talking point that everybody's speculating on. He did I guess it was a Facebook live interview with Cannavaro at one point, where
Instagram.
he said he likes to do a 4-3-3 attacking.
Yeah.
But then I read somewhere that he wanted to bring back the 3-man D, a la
Why?
Conte. Can we do a 3-man D? I think we can. Personally, I think Bonucci plays better in a 3-man D, so that might wake everybody back up. And with Dembral, De Ligt,
Yeah.
Chiellini would not be your main guy in there. He could come in and out.
Right.
And Rugani, send him away. I know we brought back I forget his name from Genoa. He'll be our fifth string CB.
Oh, Romero. Yeah.
Romero.
I think he's more of a. I think he's going to be more of a pawn. I think that's
It's
going to be a
possible.
guy who's going to get
Still
us
as a
fetch us
pawn?
some money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fetch us some money. I mean, like I said, I'm shocked that that was even reported. I mean, again, take that with a grain of salt, everybody, and that's what I try and do. Is even with these edits I've been doing, trying to keep it as even keel. I mean, to me, in terms of who's reporting first, and that's what kind of gets me annoyed is there's been this rush to like report everything as fast as possible. Who cares if it's double, triple, quadruple checked or not? Just report it, throw it out there, and get your clicks. And I mean, to me, it's not true to what the art is. And in terms of this 3-man, I mean, look, it could be he did experience it with Conte. To me, I don't think we have enough depth to play with a 3. Like you said, we still have to wait for De Ligt to come back, so it's not something he would start with. Now, does that mean he goes and does this mid-season once De Ligt is back and ready to go? It's a possibility, maybe a good possibility, but because like you said, Bonucci does look he's got more support, more coverage. when he has two other defenders beside him, and he's given more freedom to make the passes that he needs to make and get involved with the midfield and the attack. So again, like you said, it's a possibility. Um, but we'll see what happens in that regard. I mean, for me, it's difficult because you look at the formations that he could deploy, and I don't see it being a 3-5-2. Maybe a 3-4-3
Hmm.
would be a possibility, or a 3-4-1-2. Maybe if they want the trequartista role, if he thinks of trying that again. Which I mean,
I think
again,
all of it depends on what our transfer market happens. So
right,
if we do get that classic number 9, that opens up a lot of doors. So if we get like the Milik of the world,
right,
I don't see us doing a 4-3-3 and sticking the ball on the right. Milik's not going to be your starter. He'll be somebody coming off the bench to give another option.
right.
But if we get Deco or with the other,
Raul
or even
Jimenez,
like even like
Morata, Cavani. Yep.
a Cavani of the world, like those big classic number 9s,
Yeah.
then I can kind of see them in the as your lone striker, and then you can have a 2, so it'll be a 3-4-2-1, where you
Okay.
have Ronaldo and Dybala, and they have the freedom to hit the wings, but then they also don't have that defensive responsibility to come back.
Right.
Again, is Piero going to be the genius and get the buy-in to do that type of formation? Allegri got it when he went to the 4-2-3-1, but
Right.
he also had a Mandzukic who was willing to run back.
Right. So it's all to be seen. Again, I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what the club's gonna do. I really don't see it financially. I don't see it in the books to get really creative. For again, some of the valuations you're hearing, valuations of what our players are worth and valuations of what the other teams are asking it's getting ridiculous in some senses. I mean, even 50 million for Milik is ridiculous in my opinion. I don't know why we would, invest in a guy who really I think is injury prone. Look, everyone's going on vacation. Oh, and there's a shout out, it's funny because there's a couple people on Twitter kind of giving it to Higuain about going home right away after that he had his plane booked. And I mean, the guy has been through a hell of a lot. I think he's done a hell of a lot for us. Obviously, it looks like he's going to be going. I think either by mutual agreement or whatever. They want to get paid. Him and Kadir want to get paid, and I don't blame them. They signed their contracts. I mean,
Yeah.
For Kadira, for how little he's played and for how useless he's been, I kind of expect him to be a little bit more, um, you know,
and and that's the thing
forgiving.
with both of those players. They could easily say, okay, you want to live out the last year of your contract? Great, you're frozen. You're not going to play. And with that being said, stay home, stay in Argentina, stay in Germany.
Yeah,
Here's your check. But they lose a year of their career, and they're already at the tail end of their careers. These guys, they still think they can play. So that's where, that mutual agreement of, all right, I think Kadir is 6 million. Here,
yeah,
take 3, f off and go over to
right.
the MLS or whatever the case. And then I think that's I mean their agents are doing that because that's their job to make sure that their players get paid.
Yeah,
And at the end of the day, are they going to be here? I don't think so. I think Piero basically is telling them that you're not in their plans, you're going to be frozen. So it's now, how do they take that loss? Because that's what they did with Matuidi. At the end of the day, it's a financial loss because they kind of paid him out. We didn't get a package from Miami, and I think that's how it's going to be with these other two. So it's pay them off as little as possible. I'm not sure if it's like in the NHL when you do the buyouts and you can spread it a couple of years
if only.
financially on the books. But what it does mean is we'll probably have to sell somebody to balance that off. Whether it's make a
Right.
profit, whether it's Costa that I hear, the latest I heard was Man United.
Apparently.
The number I heard I couldn't believe, but if you get a fraction of that, here you go.
That's what I mean. It's like, yeah, I think we're not gonna have a problem. I mean, Matuidi's. I don't have the sheet on me. I usually have them right next to me, but of contracts. But I think his hit wasn't that big of a deal. Even the 6 million, over one season is not a huge hit. It's just the fact that the guy's done nothing. You think he would respect the club, the fans, and everyone else, and say, "Hey, I'll take a little bit of amount. And I'll go make some money somewhere else." If he's good enough, right? So to me, whatever it is, what it is. Um, Again, on Pirlo's case, apparently training is going to start probably on the 24th, so coming up in a few days. Nations League apparently is at the beginning of September as well, and you're not going to get really that much time to train before the start of the season. So again, you look at it like when Sadi started with obviously pneumonia, and then going on preseason tour in Asia and then coming back and starting again. It's going to be interesting to see what Pirlo has to offer. Obviously, 1.8 million a year. That's going to be a big savings for the club because obviously they have to pay, Saudi around 6 million per year for the next couple years.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think Saudi is going to do a Spalletti. Spalletti's counting his money and waiting. I think Saudi, at his age, he wants to coach. So I don't think we're
Probably
going
be
to
like a
pay the
split.
full.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won't pay the full remainder of his contract.
Yeah, I mean it depends on where he wants to go, right? Like that's the thing. I don't know who's going to want to pay him what, right? Cuz if you're looking at these smaller clubs, they're not going to look to pay a big sum. So, we'll see what happens in that sense. Um like I said, what do you think about Paratici? Have you obviously maybe not leaving now, but do you think, in the next 10 months there's a change? Obviously Man United, Roma have been, rumored, and do you think he's going to look for a new challenge? Obviously, Cherubini's been linked to his spot at least, and obviously he's been moved into Marotta's position, old position as of um, a few weeks ago, I believe it was. So, what are your thoughts on Paratici either staying with us or going? Kind of, I guess, depends on the season. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you nailed it right on the head there. It all depends on the season. If we have that bounce back season, have a good Champions League run, I see him staying. If it is the other disaster, if it's the other way where we don't bring any trophies home or only one trophy, I think it's time for him to move on. He's been part of the project the whole 9 years. Uh, he's only been at the helm at the last little bit, but I think he's also been handcuffed by some of the bad contracts and extensions that were given from before. So to give him the benefit of the doubt, but he's also handcuffed himself. He's made some big signings. I mean,
Yeah,
one season Ronaldo, the next season De Ligt. So he's done his
can't get much
part.
bigger.
It's kind of he's been stuck on the other side there of the Pepitas of the world who don't want to leave, and uh, who else doesn't want to leave? Kadiras.
Yeah.
Gigi Buffon came back.
There you go. No, Gigi's hopefully. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens at the end of the year, right? But we'll see what happens. With obviously Pirlo being the new coach, he's going to be the youngest manager apparently to lead Juve in a Serie A match since Carlo Ancelotti, which he was 39 in February of 1999. So great stat from Opta Paolo. And
Hope we don't
obviously,
get second place finishes like Angelo.
yeah, that's true. That is true. Hopefully, he doesn't take that toll. But still, even with Pirlo being, appointed as the coach, and I wanted to mention, obviously, like you said, the different technical, the support staff that he's going to have. Obviously, he's going to be the coach with Baronio, Roberto Baronio being the assistant coach. Igor Tudor is going to be his technical collaborator. Um, Paolo Bertelli is going to be the athletic trainer. Claudio Filippi stays on as goalkeeper trainer, and Antonio Gagliardi is your match analyst now. There's a little bit of controversy too because Tudor had to get an agreement with Split, Hajduk Split, to get his, I believe the rest of what he had on his contract
Yeah.
taken care of. So that now has obviously been taken care of, and it's confirmed as of recent that he's going to be part of the squad. But Pirlo doesn't have his pro license. So in September, he's going to be sitting with the likes of obviously Luca Toni and Paulo Montero as well. Again, like you mentioned, the players that not necessarily on the 2016 one, obviously yes, but the other no. But a lot of players under the school of Lippi are getting their licenses. So Baronio, I think, is going to be the main man until everything's finalized. And again, it's as simple as getting a license. What are they really asking during these exams is and I guess arbitrary, so to speak, but still needs to get that done. I got Coverciano, which will get him his UEFA A license, and then things will get back to normal. So I think that's interesting. We've touched obviously on the possible formations. Just going through the headlines here that I have written down. Um, what else do we got here, guys? Um, obviously 9 years. Guido Vaziago has said that with the last 9 years, you look at it, critical, timely decisions. You have three coaches: the situation with Del Piero, situation with Marchisio, the legends. Never really affected by emotional factors, and knowing the club comes first. Talking about the difference between Juve and other big teams. I don't know if it's worked as well as we think. Obviously, we've won 9 in a row. I think that's definitely debatable. And I think you're going to hear that a lot kind of coming into the season, depending on how easy we make it look. COVID really hasn't helped us in terms of financials. With there was a 300 million euro capital increase, which really might have just balanced everything out. I mean, we really still don't know the extent until that financial report comes out in October or December, whenever they. And I guarantee you, they're going to hold it off as long as possible because really, I think the stock is going to take a dip once we realize what the final damage is, and I think there is damage. I think for
Yeah.
anyone to be naive enough to say that we're completely unscathed, I know there's been a report saying that even though we got out, it's not necessarily a big deal. I totally disagree with that. You're not going to be getting any gates receipts. You're not going to be getting any. I guarantee you, even the merchandise is probably down because people don't have as much money to spend as people weren't able to work, at least in North America, and the priorities of at home are maybe not necessarily to buy jerseys and buy merchandise, even though there'll be a big number, but you're still not going to get enough to really maintain what was missing. I think it's about 30 odd $1 million that come in just from gate receipts every year. So we got to see we got to see when that comes in.
And that's where we're getting kind of knocked down a peg. Our advantage was we owned our own stadium.
Right.
We had that financial advantage over the other smaller teams. The J
That's gone.
Hotel was brought in. That's gone. So those advantages are now we're limited TV contract. Well, the TV contract would have worked out for us well if we went further in the Champions League.
Right.
Now we left that money on the table. So it's not just the 300 was it 300 million that they put in
Yeah. Yeah. I believe it was a buyback,
capital increase of well
depending on what that
so
means. I mean,
yeah, so
there's a lot
basically what it means is
financially.
the owners are basically taking their equity and they're putting more money in, so they're taking their
Right.
own private money and putting it in to do the balance. So that should is it going to cover everything? I think it would make it easier for us than I would say some of the other bigger teams in Italy. Um, that that's why when I'm hearing about these Messi to Inter talks, I just can't see financially because they were under fair play issues as well.
Well, that's exactly, and I think I think once we get settled in, I think me, um, and Albert and a couple other guys are going to be breaking this down. These talks about we're going to talk about Ronaldo, we're going to talk about Messi, and I just think it's the advantages don't really come in the immediate term. Like you really have to be financially solid to welcome something like this in, and as we've seen, it's rocked the boat quite heavily in Juve's own books, and yeah, like exactly, you can't. It's maybe okay, sure. Let's say they get rid of Lautaro, to kind of counteract that. That Barca's been going after him and heavily been linked with him. It's kind of cooled down, but even still, you got to look at what the guy's going to be asking, and
Yeah,
there's a lot there's
it's
a
a
lot of
twofold.
naive fans that think it's only just whatever the transfer
Yeah,
and the salary doesn't matter. I mean, you look at Ronaldo, that was a $240 million, a $250 million investment that happened in 1 year. I mean, I believe the transfer fee was split almost in 2 seasons, but it was kind of like the beginning and the end. So it was maybe 1.5 years if you look at it, in terms of when Real Madrid wanted their money. And then you look at 31 million. Okay, what's been talked about with the players? How much are they giving back? But is it going to be backloaded um, on the contract? Like we don't know the details of that, right? Like the players obviously lost money this year, which I'm sure they were going to be guaranteed by the club at some point. Does that get backloaded into the rest of the contract? Um, I don't know. Is that gone for good? We don't know. And again, I love to know those answers, because it's gonna tell the tale of what we do
and I think
this year and next year.
the other part
Really,
is we got 2 more seasons of Ronaldo left at that
yeah,
31 million wage bill. If he's going to be here next season, just with the financial
yeah,
situation out there, no one's going to take him. Now, if he's got 1 year left on the deal, we would have amortized most of his contract. If someone comes and says, "Here's 50 million," I can see him, and he wants to go. It's also the will of the player. Does he
right.
want to go for another challenge?
So I
And
think
I can see,
what was the number though? I think it was like 57 million was left. So you're gonna lose about. I think you're gonna get another 25 million off the books just next year, right?
yeah, if he leaves
So
next, so you get your 31 million of salary,
yeah,
and plus his the amortized value of his transfer. So was it 100 million,
yeah. So I
something
think
like that?
someone posted like the values that our players would that are have left on the books, like their amortized value. And I believe it was Ronaldo was about 57.9 million. So you're going to get about half of that off the books. So let's say about
Yeah,
25, 26, 27 million right off the bat if you
and I think
do
you
end up
still,
selling
yeah,
them.
yeah, you would still make a profit on him, depending who
Oh
takes
yeah,
him.
I think so.
And then even if he stays that and fulfills his contract, all right. So now you're not going to get the amortized value because it's played down. But now next season, you got $30 million that you can go out and go sign the next Ronaldo for.
Oh,
And I
and
think
it's a big idea.
that was their plan when they went through this, um, when they went all in for him. So they thought they had this 4 year window for Champions League and thought he would bring them over the hump. Now, if this year is a failure in Champions League, I see him,
Oh, I think
saying,
he's
"All right,
gone.
here I'm gone." Um, do I see him jump into the MLS or China or Middle East? Not yet. I think he is possessed to win the Champions League with the third team.
I agree. I agree.
So does that mean next season it's a PSG offering? Because who else can buy him? PSG, your Man Cities,
Man, you
other. other than that, but I don't even think he would want to go back to Man U or to City just because he's won in England. He
Yeah.
wants to pad his stat, right? So he'll be, hey, all right, I'm going to Paris, and now I've won in
Well,
four leagues.
it wouldn't shock me if he went back to Man U. I think it's definitely. I think they definitely have enough money to. You got to look at the clubs that, would even if Real Madrid has another shitty season. Do you think they come back and offer something? I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, everybody's surprised that look at Bar. Everyone keeps throwing around Barca's financial situation, and I think everybody needs to stay in their own backyard and stop looking and thinking about what other clubs. You know, Juve's got 400 million around financial debt. So this number that everyone keeps throwing around of 800 million, 900 million financial debt of a club of that size can sweep that under the rug, depending on who the owners in and how much money they're willing to inject into this team. So don't think that Barca's dead. Don't think that all these clubs are dead. They're not. You know, it's pure speculation that everyone's talking about. Oh, the president's not going to be there. This, and the other thing, and then what happens is they go and spend money on Griezmann, and this is the thing I hear a lot. Oh, well, they're dead in the water. They're not going to be able to do anything, and then they'll go pull off a deal with Juve, and they'll work something out. So don't expect that to not change, where they'll get rid of Griezmann or they'll get rid of all these other players, and they'll make their ends meet. And then again, who knows with Messi? I mean, we'll see what happens. I think it's a lot of cheap talk, but whatever. Whatever you want to think about that, it is. But I think the misconception is Juve having a lot of money, and that's another thing. I don't think we have a lot of money. I think that's completely wrong idea to take. But certain
You can
fans don't
when
want to
you
do their
compare
research.
Juve,
But
yeah, when you compare Juve to the rest of City A, yes,
oh,
we got a
sure,
lot of money.
okay,
But we are measuring ourselves, and Ellie has been measuring ourselves for years, not against the rest of City A. He's been measuring us against the Real Madrids, the Uniteds of the world. And I think there was a survey that went out of the brands the other day. I think we were 11th. We're top brand for Italy. And then the other part of that too that you have to factor in, who's above us.
right,
So you have your Spanish teams. Well, what's one of the biggest languages spoken around the world? Spanish.
right.
The English teams.
There you
And
go.
then what's the third biggest language? It's actually French.
Yeah.
And I remember I was at a credit conference in Quebec City a few years ago, and this this guy just starts talking, and he's like, "Worst language to learn is Italian." And I have like this, you're talking to an Italian here. He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, but we're out. What's it going to give you?" And as he started making his point there, I'm like, hey, he's got a point. And
Yeah.
that's something that why we're seeing this type of branding is to try to appeal to these other markets, right? Because
I disagree
we
about that a little
we
bit
have we have
because
we have our like there's a big Italian base in a lot of kind of Canada, U.S. A lot of that Italian heritage, and a lot of Juve fans that have inherited
yeah,
the love. Uh, but to grow, we can't just rely on that, and I
well,
think that's been their intent of why they've made the certain changes. You can argue if it's been effective or not, but I understand why they're going that way.
yeah. I mean, in terms of that, I think international business, I think is in English anyway. So I don't know. I think sure you get a little bit because there's more of a connection, like you said, with the French language and obviously with Spanish. But I don't know necessarily that's the reason why our branding is the way it is. I think if there's a project that you can make money off of, people are gonna join that. You know what I mean? Like people are not gonna have a problem investing if you put the right forward and the right project there. Now, is a footballing project something that is there to make money, and there is, but if you run it a certain way, and I think that's the problem we get into is what are the motives, right? You know, you look at other clubs and really PSG's first Champions League final in their history, I believe.
How much money did they spend to get there?
Well, exactly, right?
Yeah.
So, um,
As opposed to
what
Bayern,
does that mean?
it just kind of shows you the different models of how you build a team. So
Right,
you have your PSGs who basically didn't go through the academy and just spent transfer wise,
right.
and your Bayerns of the world who actually, you know, made sound investments. There's a lot of academy players in there, and hell, the best signing that they did was a Canadian left back.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Great player. I mean, it's funny the parallel of what we need and then seeing this guy, dominate.
Just come out of nowhere, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh, they could have signed him from Vancouver.
it's crazy. It's freaking crazy. Obviously with the MVP, Dybala, this was a little bit of point of contention, and I got into it with Ronaldo fans again. But Dybala wins the Serie A MVP. And I don't know if it was kind of a making peace after us going out and maybe him not being happy, but Ronaldo gets the Juventus MVP of the season. What'd you think of that whole debacle?
I don't think it was. It's basically how they did the measurement. So when they did Dybala's Serie A MVP, they were using different statistics to, to say, okay, he deserves to be the MVP. With Ronaldo, when Ronaldo got his, I believe it was fan voted.
Oh, was it like man of the matches or something?
I think because I went to go read of what it was, and I believe it was fan voted. And when you get it there, the Ronaldo fans of the world are going to
Shocker.
flood the votes, right? Um, now, who's our MVP? You can flip a coin, and
Oh yeah, and
you can
I think the lick too.
you can throw Delict in there as well. I
You
mean,
got to give him his
there
credit.
was
His due.
no one standout this season. Um, Ronaldo got the goals, but I think
Yep.
the big statistic for me was Ronaldo scored what is 11, 12 penalties.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Easy.
The Balla earned 8 of them. So if Ronaldo was not there,
Yeah.
those would have been Dybal's goals.
Well, and that's what I made my argument. I mean, literally, you take those 12 penalties that he has, and that drops him back into what? What would that be?
Just under 20.
Right,
18, 19.
13, I think.
Well, he had
Or
31,
sorry,
didn't he?
sorry. Yeah, exactly. Just under 20. I had a brain fart there. Um, yeah, so just under 20. I mean, Dybala was at whatever he was. Even if he scores half of those, he comes close. He bridges that gap. So really, and I mean, I think he's scoring more than half. So to me, goals are only, you know,
It's
goals
one
are goals
stat,
are
one
goals are
stat.
nice when it's you look at it in a way when you're running away with it the way Lewandowski did. And how much those goals really meant to the team. I think like you said, every stat means something, and you got to take it with a grain of salt in terms of what you value that in the big picture. Now, again, Ronaldo fans are going to get on that. They're going to get on man of the matches by whoscored.com and transfer market, whatever. If you want to go off of that, sure. That's your business. I simply look at it as watching every game and seeing who made the difference in most of the
Pass
games.
the eye test. Yeah,
And and
and
that's how I see it for me, from
yeah,
personal.
and the whole thing with the goal statistics, right? If
Yeah,
you're a if you're a striker, you should be scoring more goals than
right.
somebody like Dybala who isn't a striker. He's he's a number 10. He can even, or you can call him a 9.5,
Yeah,
whatever you want to call him, right? He's not your out and out striker. So when Higuain got it, broke the record, it made sense because
Right.
that's
Number
what he
9.
is. And you have to give Ronaldo credit. He's not a striker as well. He's on the left wing. To
Right.
score at the rate that he does throughout his career, you know, that's
It's pretty
it's an
incredible.
impressive feat. And he doesn't score. Yes, he gets a lot of penalties, but he doesn't score the same way. I mean, the aerial ability that this guy's got, like when he floated and hovered in the air versus Sam, that
Oh
goal.
yeah.
I mean, not too many guys in the world can do that.
No,
So
that's definitely one of the few.
he scored some great goals this year. But the Dybala, to me, he was the connection to get that ball to Ronaldo. He connected the midfield because Pjanic was, still stuck. He was thinking of Barcelona all year. I think he was not the same player that we expected him to be under Sarri.
Yeah.
So are we going to see that change next year? Or are we going to see a faster midfield under Piero? Hopefully.
See,
Um,
I think of it
my
like
my
I think of it like this too, though, James. When you break it down in its simplest form, and a lot of people don't like to not believe this because I don't know, our fans are turning a little bit too much into this Real Madrid like tunnel vision because there was a time when Ronaldo wasn't on this team and we were scoring goals. So to somehow think that it's the end all be all stat makes no sense whatsoever. And I see it like this. Like I said, you look at your eye test, but I also have another test. Now, if you take Ronaldo out and you tell me that you don't think Juve could have built a team with the squad we had that would go out there and win games is mind-boggling to me. Let's say Ronaldo was hurt for a year. We had to find another way to win games. We're gonna find the best formation that's gonna work, whether that be Dybala and Higuain, and whatever, a 3-5-2, a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, whatever it's gonna be. You're gonna find the best formation that works, and we're still gonna score goals. So to me, you can take Ronaldo out of this squad and still find a way to win. If I take Dybala out of the squad, there's games that we don't win, and I'll tell you that right now, and we possibly don't win the Scudetto. And
uh-huh.
that to me says everything. Everything. It explains everything perfectly. And that's what the most valuable player is, the best player. You might not say he's not the most skilled, you might not say he's got the best stats. That doesn't, the best player to me is the guy that is getting your ass from point A to point B. And to me, we could have plugged in, you could have even bought a striker or whatever and put him in for where Ronaldo is and possibly look better than how we did this year. So to me, it's as simple as that. And then you
Now
look
what
at, you know,
now what we can say there too is Dybala as Serie A MVP and the big goals in Serie A, yes. But if we're bringing it into Champions League, who scored the knockout goals,
sure,
right?
but
So
James, you got to remember
and
we
that's
didn't win though. Like I
no,
mean,
no.
again,
I agree.
it's
No, we didn't win, but that's one of our issues that we see, and I think the big thing with the Dybala too, and it just I don't know if it's luck, just bad luck, but he always seems to be injured when we need him in those key championship games. Now, am I saying we're
no,
very
no.
lucky?
I know what
We
you're
have
not. I know what you're
sure,
not. I know you're not saying what you were intending. I know that.
yeah,
I get you. I get your point. But my point is this: we went to the final with on the back of essentially Dybala and Higuain, and people like to forget that in the final that we lost to Madrid. And now all of a sudden, okay, a couple seasons he gets injured, whatever, he gets a suspension against Real Madrid, um, off of a stupid red card in the first leg, and now all of a sudden there's questions about, oh well, Dybala, he's not in these games, he's not there when we need him. I mean, guys, why do we always take like this is not a winning mentality in my opinion. you could score. You could scored 500 goals in the last 3 seasons. It doesn't. Non importa niente. Like that's how I. That's how I, it doesn't mean nothing, man. Like, like you're not winning. If you get knocked out, you could have scored 7 goals against Lyon, and you're still out of the tournament. To me, it means nothing. And to me, like Ronaldo fans like to make this big 7 knockout. Okay, sure, whatever. He scored 7 knockout. You haven't won the trophy. We've been to more finals without Ronaldo than we have been with Ronaldo. So at the end of the day, like who cares? Like it's. And
Then
sure,
that's it.
there's other factors into that. Yes, I'm not discounting that. I'm just saying to make this as a one stat says all means it means to me personally it means nothing. Sure, you can
I,
throw whatever stats. He's got the most. You could say he was the most effective. You could say he had the most possession. He's got the most dribbles. At the end of the day, there's only one stat, and this is what It's funny how we use this with merda. We like to say and to kind of continue this rant a little bit, but we like to say, "Oh well, we only won by 1 point." Well, the only stat is that is important is that we won the Scudetto. Okay, well, guys, stay in that same lane. It doesn't mean shit that he scored 7 goals. The fact of the matter is 0 Champions Leagues, 0 finals. That's it. There doesn't need to be. You can complain about he doesn't have guys and this and that. That's the situation, and that's how I see it. You want to
yeah,
play in one. You want to play one mentality for this, and that's the fact. That's the thing that pisses me off the most about this whole Ronaldo is everybody's playing with separate rules. It's one rule for Ronaldo that he's done this, but then when you bring up okay, you're paying the guy to get you to the next level and he misses a free header that essentially sends you on to but we can't look at that because he scored 2 goals. But now we want to start nitpicking at everybody else and nitpicking at Dybala. If you want to call me a Dybala homer, guys, you can say whatever you want. It's your opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's up to you. But this is how I see it. And there's a lot of,
and I think this is
wishy-washy ideas.
yeah. I think this is what's happened the last 2 years. Is you have our guys like us who have been Juventina from prior
Oh,
to
yeah.
2011. And then you have this new wave of Ronaldo,
Kills
and I
me.
think you call them the Ronaldo fanboys who've come on, and they're not Juventus fans, they're
No, they don't
Ronaldo
care.
fans,
They
right?
don't care at all.
And after a game, when you go look, I'm sure everybody checks their Twitter feed, sees some, and you see that shit, and I'll call it a shit. At
Oh, it
the end of the
is.
day, and this, and I try to take Ronaldo out of his fanboys.
Oh, yeah. Like,
I don't think Ronaldo is going home,
no.
crawling up to Georgina and saying, "Hey, they didn't give me the ball." And I don't believe any of that. At the end of the day, he's there. He's going to try to win. He's going to pass the ball to the ball. The ball is going to pass the ball. I don't think even if they had Twitter back in the day, I don't think we would see this argument of, "Hey, Del Piero and Trezeguet, they
Yeah.
can't work to." But that's what this fan base has done
Well,
to
I can't stand it, man. It's literally like
and I and one of the things is if I respect Ronaldo as a player, he's done fantastic. But I 120% agree with you on the fanboy fans that
literally. I take the piss now. Like I
buy
literally
into the
don't.
team. You're not cheering for one player, you're cheering for the team. Don't like at the end of the day, if Ronaldo, and this is what for myself, I grew
Yeah.
up as a Del Piero fan. Del Piero retired.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't retire. He went to Sydney first. He went to Australia.
Well,
You know, did I
essentially
follow?
retired.
Did I follow like I'm not following you anymore? No, you stick with your team. So
Yeah.
these guys were these Real Madrid fans prior 3 years prior. Stick to Real Madrid.
Oh, they'll go
Right?
back. Don't worry,
Yeah,
because one like
yeah.
I already told half of you guys out there, and like I said, you're not gonna win the war. You might win the battle. You might win these little, get your likes and get your click everybody's like and make sure everybody's happy and everyone's backs rubbed and you guys are all feeling good now. But don't worry, it's only gonna be 2-3 years. You're gonna go back to obscurity and Ronaldo's gonna be gone and you can jump on whoever's bandwagon you want to at that point. You'll probably go back to Madrid or maybe you'll become a Barca fan, some BS like that because we know you're not sticking. And this is everybody talks about these 40 million fans that we have now. Don't worry, that number is gonna hit the fucking floor once Ronaldo's gone. I guarantee it. And it's like we would rather you have a fan base that would literally strip this team to the bones so that their supposed legend can win a sixth Champions League. Are you nuts? Like, do you got a brain? Like, literally. Like, the the question of people saying, and I knew it was bullshit. Like, let's get me like me making comments and taking the piss out of these Ronaldo fans. It's fun for me. Saying stupid shit like, "Oh, I wish Ronaldo, broke his legs or whatever." Like, this is just stupid shit. It's funny to me because the way they react, you see them like literally like crying,
Yeah.
flooding the whole. Oh, this guy! How did he say this? How could he say that to his own guys? I want Juve to win. I don't care how we got to win. I don't care which players it is. I don't care. I want Juve to hoist the Champions League. Now, I've said my fair share of good about Ronaldo, so I don't need to keep rehashing it every time. Uh, I'm a pretty even keel. I can see things both ways, and sure, he's contributed a hell of a lot to this team. But for you to say, and for actually even so-called Juventini to say, we would rather sell off Dybala and keep Ronaldo at 35 through 37 to build this team is literally ridiculous. Now, Fera had her own argument, and she thinks Dybala doesn't show up in games. I totally respect that because I can see she's a Juventini and she gives a shit about this team. I don't give a shit about what a Ronaldo fanboy has to say about. Oh yeah, well he's got it. We can build a team around him, and it's got to be all around him. That's the wrong mentality. That's why we haven't won shit so far. Is because, and this is like, to be honest, we have taken this approach to bringing Ronaldo in so wrong as a club. So wrong. To think that a guy was going to somehow flick his wrist and with a magic wand is the reason why we're in these problems as is. And, we can go back and discuss all the moves we made and the contracts we made, but we just weren't ready. And that's my opinion. And I don't see it changing. To be honest, I don't see us winning Champions League next year. And I think he's going to go, to be honest. I don't think he's going to go now because he doesn't want to give up on it. And if he left now, one, we're not going to be getting that kind of money like you said before. And two, um, it's going to be a dent on his reputation if he leaves it too early. He wants to leave it to us Forest and say, hey, I did what I can do. I scored all my Champions League goals. They didn't want to bring a team to me. I stayed for the majority of my contract. That's the situation that's going to happen. I guarantee it. In terms of players, like you said, Matuidi, it was weird. Everyone was saying he joined on a free transfer, and then it took like 4 days after for you to actually officially say that his contract was terminated.
Yep.
So we go on. The list is long, and we need to start shredding this team to bare bones and really build. That's my opinion. We got to really rebuild it, and whether that's being Pirlo kind of winning the tent for us and kind of caretaking, that's fine. But he talked about Bernadeschi being an indispensable player a few months ago. I don't see how that's the case. I think the guy he needs to go to a new squad. He
So
needs it.
so with Bernadeschi, I tweeted this out. I have a feeling he will be sticking around. Now, it all depends if they got a good offer, they'll sell him. But I have
Well,
a
that's true.
feeling
Always the
I
case. This
have
is
a
true.
feeling this is going to be a Pietro project, and he will stick around, but he will not stick around as a right winger.
No, see, I don't see it
I
any other way, bro.
I especially if they're gonna do wing backs. I kind of see him dropping into a wing back.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say like Mezzala or something like that, and I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't see
no,
it. I don't
he's
see it.
too soft to be a Manzala, but I kind of he did play a little bit at Fiorentina as a left wing back. If they
Okay,
have to do,
that could be
I
interesting.
I I see something happening there. Is it gonna? But at the end of the day, it's hey, if they get the right offer, he's gone.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna need the money. I think that's gonna be key, especially for the real needs that we have. Uh,
Because
and
somebody's got to go at right wing. If they
well,
do stick with the four three
exactly.
three, you got Costa Bernardeschi, and
Quadrado.
Corrado. One of them,
Yeah,
two of them should go.
I
So
think so.
Costa's gonna go. I think they're gonna keep Corrado because he can drop back. Not that we
Yeah,
want him to as a right back if we need to. And then Bernardeschi just because he can play those multiple positions. So for
right.
me, ship ship Costa out. But can Bernardeschi play on the left wing if you ever decide to take Ronaldo out? Like those are the things that they gotta look at.
Well, I don't see Ronaldo ever coming out. Like that's as long as he's here, he's playing everything. So you don't even need to look there. And a squad that's 29 point, aged at 29.4 average, and you look at the 8 teams in the CL quarterfinals that were really from 24 to 27 average age. Uh, that's just it another blaring problem. Um, Apparently there was Pirlo was calling all the players that need to leave the club. Um, you know, the names obviously were Higuain, Khedira, Deschilio, and Douglas Costa, but again, that's just rumors. I mean, we'll see what happens and who
Now the
goes,
she
and when it officially goes down, that's when I like to see it. If not, really, it's all paper talk, to be honest.
Now DeShilio, he has caused us problems for 2 straight seasons with his injuries.
Yeah, well,
That's the reason why Alexandro was a skeleton of the former man he was because he was exhausted. He played far too much because he didn't when at the start of the year when they drew it up of who's going to be who, they penciled in DeShield to be the backup left back. How many
yeah.
games did he play this year?
Good
I
question.
I I
Good
I,
question.
I So now you had them. So then you're kind of forced to drop Corrado back. Now you're forced to move Daniello to the left, and he just caused nightmare because that's why they let Pellegrini.
Yeah.
Is that the one? Yeah, they let him go on loan because he let him get his playing time in. But yeah,
Honestly, man,
it's,
I don't get this whole, and we'll kind of go on an aside. Age is again, we got to bring the team's got to be younger. Um, Obviously Buffon and Chiellini. Apparently, those were direct from Agnelli, and they're considered key. But for me, this Alexandro talk, um, I don't get it at all. Be quiet, Siri. But anyways, yeah, I don't get it. I think the guy has been very good. I think he's been very underappreciated. And again, like you said, he's been played into the ground. Honestly, I'll say this about him. If Juve wants to get the Plus Valenza, that's fine. They can go do that. But when you get someone who is more attacking, prepare for what you're wishing for. And I don't want to hear it after that, oh, well, now we're going to need someone who's more defensive and we need someone who's more 50-50. When you get someone like all these guys, Teles, Tagliafico, what was another guy that they wanted? Palmieri, just remember what you're getting defensively. Now, if you start leaking goals because these guys don't want to come back, I don't want to say I told you so, but Uncle Danny's going to be tweeting out on Twitter with the guns blazing. Don't you fucking forget that. I'll tell you that right now. You're going to be hearing it from me. So just remember about what you wish for about Alexandro because he's been solid. The guy came back again from a tear of his MCL or ACL, one of his ligaments he tore in the Coppa Italia match against Milan. Then right away, boom, slotted in again as soon as he comes back. So, guys, the guy's been dragged into the ground. I think he's got a. I think he's with the right, rotation. I think the guy can be phenomenal with us. You look at the crosses that we had. Um, I think Ronaldo's an incredibly hard player to play with, um, especially when you had guys like Marcelo, who one have been playing so long with the guy, and two really were afforded the luxury of having a Casemiro who could, win balls back quickly and also come back and help out the defense when Marcelo was trapped in no man's land. So for me, it's that simple. Again, I hope, like we talked about before, I hope some of the players that we want out go peacefully instead of busting our ass. And then in terms of a number 9, I don't know. Do we really need someone? I think there's a lot of options that make sense. I think a lot of these valuations need to really either be lowered or we don't even look at them. And that's pretty much it for me. Um, Juve's stock has been taking a beating in the last 6 months. It was at a 1.538 euro in April of 2019, and now we're, I believe, under $1. So we'll see what happens in terms of that. Again, something not really that doesn't really matter in a sense. I think as long as the club's bringing in money and the revenues are good, costs have been creeping up, so we got to be careful about that. And in terms of what happens with COVID, that's another thing. But in terms of players, Morata's been even talked about. Isco's been talked about. Apparently, Juve aren't interested. Tonali out of the race. Bonucci, who everyone's been talking about, apparently he's not going to go, according to Romeo Agresti. Some other things with Dybala. So much came out about that, and again, what are your thoughts? We'll get into it right now. So, in terms of when everybody's talking about, you hear all this stuff about Ronaldo going or Ronaldo staying. Again, I took it with a grain of salt. I didn't really think that Juve was stupid enough to drop out at least Dybala. Definitely Ronaldo. I think you got to see what the situation is, because again, if you can make money off of that, and you can get that value. That's going to allow you to pick up pieces that you can add to the squad and play in a certain formation that benefits the team. Where I think we play in a formation that really tries to benefit Ronaldo, and I think that's an ass backwards way of looking at it. I mean, you're forced to now because you have the guy, but hey, well, it is what it is. So a lot of people were saying he was looking for 20 million. I don't necessarily see what's wrong with that. I mean, I know in terms of financially, you got to be smart, but for a guy that's been so useful and so needed, where you pretty much you risk losing the Scudetto this year, I don't see why that was a big issue. I think it's going to be around 10 to 12, maybe 13, 14. We'll see what happens. But the club was talking about 8 million, and I thought that was like, what kind of a joke is that? 8 million for a guy who's, like I said, one of the top players in the team. So I think
Yeah,
it's.
I kind of see
I
that
thought that
deal
was
come into
disrespectful.
about, it'll probably end up being about 13, 14 with bonuses.
Yeah, exactly.
He achieves his certain objectives. The 20 million number, I thought I read that his entourage said that's
Yeah,
false.
like, so it's pretty much come out that like all of these rumors are what they are, exactly rumors. And like I said in the early parts of the video, the podcast, people got their clicks. Gazzetta got their clicks. Tuttosport got their clicks. Monblano, all these other guys, they made their money off of the views they got. And now, like I said, everything's quieted down. Everyone, the sensible heads have come out and said, no, that's not going to happen. And I think Pirlo's really been pushing a number 9, so I guess you could kind of infer of what he's thinking. But again, he's also said in the past, like you said with the 4-3-3, it depends on what players he has. So I think he's a reasonable guy. I think he's gonna pick the best formation that works for us, and Dybala and Ronaldo have to be a key part of that, whatever that may be. But again, he's probably going to still be out 20 to 30 days. So I don't know if he's necessarily going to start at the beginning of the season or not. Um, and then obviously you look at Costa Di Chilio and Kadira could be ready for the start, but I don't see those guys being part of the team. That's just my opinion. Um, and another stat, Dybala with the most goals since 2015-16 with 95 in all competitions, more than any other player. But then, like you said, Fabrizio Romano came out saying that they had no intention of selling Dybala. And again, even his agent or his representatives came out on Twitter and said, yeah, there's all these rumors are unfounded. We don't know what these guys are talking about. And there was no real proposal from Real Madrid. I know there was a report that came out, some 100 million number was floated out, and I don't know where they're getting this shit from, but someone's making money off of it, and it's definitely not me. So I gotta start, selling clicks. That's my next job.
We gotta start making
Selling
up
bullshit.
rumors. Yeah.
Selling bullshit from anywhere and anywhere. But like I said, mentioned before, there was a table which was pretty cool to see from Antonio Corsa and Massimo Carone for the or if you want to call it plusvalenza, but players that could be sold um, at a number that wouldn't create a financial loss for us. I think it's a pretty important thing to keep an eye on. Obviously, we
Yeah,
have
I think the big thing that I remember looking at that list is to remember the amount of guys that we have on loan that are coming back and their value. So guys who aren't part of our, they weren't going to
exactly
be part of our team anyway, that we can get some money off of. This is how Inter got themselves balanced over the years, as they were sold these youth players at these plusvalenzas because it's all profit.
right.
So
Yeah, I was surprised
I know
that
our academy
Perin
isn't
was
the
even
greatest,
there. I was
but
surprised Perin was even there. Like
yeah,
like
you
you're
forget
saying, these
about them.
guys.
Yeah,
And I didn't know that was a loan. And then you get into, like you said, all these guys that are coming back. Romero, I think his number is a little bit higher, so I'm not sure about that. But in terms of guys like Piazza, who's only
Yeah, that's the guy.
at 10
Like
million, Perin 7 million, those are guys you can make money off of. So that's just finding the right home. And in terms of Matuidi, 2.5 million is really what we've
what we're
and
eating.
what we're eating, right? So um, not that big of a deal. Sure, he's gonna get his whatever his salary was, so maybe it works up to 5, but really, what's 5 million between friends, right? so so we'll see what happens. We'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
it's the game of Briscoe.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, Lichtsteiner, Stefan Swiss Express, he retired over this past couple weeks, and it was sad to see. Again, I don't know what it is about the irony of it all, but it just seems like Juve's problems get like not foreshadowed, but like exposed with certain events that maybe don't necessarily align. Like you look at it in terms of the we get rid of Pellegrini, Lichtsteiner retires, and how much we've been talking about a proper right back. We look at and it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that's great. Lichtsteiner was probably a right back. Still haven't replaced anyone. Still need. Obviously, you think of Quadrado being the fill in, but he's not the guy. He's not the guy. And again, fullback, same thing.
And,
Left back, we
and,
need decent replacement. And it's just like it's funny how things just come up just
and
randomly. I mean,
the intangible that Lidschender brought,
oh yeah,
that was not replaced.
no,
He used to get
not at all.
so pissed off. He played with passion, and we don't have that. I remember seeing him the first year with Conte. I remember Krasic came on a rare appearance,
Yeah,
and he just tore a strip on him for not
yeah.
running. And
I
he did
remember that.
that. He did that with Corrado too. Like, why aren't you running? Like, and
Oh yeah,
that's what that's another key part that was missing this year is no, I never saw a hustle. I never saw anyone get angry, and that's why the people were saying, "Well,
yeah,
only Ronaldo's getting angry." The rest of those, there was no Lich who was gonna go scream at guys. It just
yeah.
felt the ball. It's not in Dybala's character. It's not in
No,
Pjanic's character. And I think if Collini was there, he would have been more. And
and I mean
Bonucci, Bonucci's
Buffon can
just
only
when
do
you
so
see
much
him,
from the bench,
yeah.
right?
And Bonucci, when he talks, it just looks like he's whining, right? So
Yeah.
uh, it's a little bit different.
No, I think but even the fact with Ronaldo, I think Ronaldo it's at key times. I mean, even him I've noticed there's been times where he's just checked out, completely checked out. Um, just looking at obviously some stats and kind of a comment from Blaise Matuidi as we say farewell. Um, obviously, there's going to be a few players like Pjanic has obviously moved on now. Matuidi is going to go, and there's going to be some others. But 3 seasons with us, 133 matches, 8 goals, 7 assists, 3 scudetti, 1 Coppa Italia, 1 Supercoppa Italiana, and yeah, grazie Blaze. Like I said in my posts, I put up my grazie Pjanic and grazie Matuidi. Check them out. There's some pretty cool edits that I've been dropping, and yeah, guys, like pretty much a workhorse for us. Um, he says, being a member of the family, Juventus is a dream come true and honor. I discovered an incredible institution, teammates who became more than that. I'll always be your number one fan, or rather number 14. Thanks, really. So, I mean, it was nice to see. I mean, the guy's got 2 left foots, but you can't blame him for what
Yeah,
he's
on the
given
defensive
physically,
end,
right?
he gave you everything.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
yeah, and he did a lot of legwork covering for Ronaldo not coming back.
Yeah.
So he did it. He's just going forward. He had, like you said, 2 left feet.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but like I said, he had his purpose and he had his run, and thankfully he's gone out the right way. Like I said, I can, as a fan, I can really appreciate that when you don't, you're not cumbersome, you're not being overbearing to the club, and to get out at the right time, and you know, again, there could have been multiple times where Kadir is like, okay, I'll reduce my salary or try and transfer me. Um, because if you can't see the writing on the wall, you're just being ignorant. I
Yeah,
mean, you've been in the hospital more than a couple cities with COVID patients. Some of the cities in the U.S. You guys been in the hospital for how many games has he even really played? It's ridiculous to think about, and to not have the wherewithal to talk about it with the club and come up with this attitude of, oh, well, I want to get paid my money, and it's just, and then you want to know why fans are so negative towards you. It's those main reasons. Now we'll see what happens in the coming little bit. Obviously today, if you guys have and something we're going to talk about right now, um Merda lost the Europa League final, and there's been a lot of interesting talk in the past few days about this whole cheering debacle. Now, I've been pretty clear on my end. I won't cheer for Merida. I don't give a shit. What the fuck? Those guys. You got to remember this, guys. Now, when if it wasn't for Merda, obviously being associated with the president of team or the former president of team, which is the cell phone and the wiretaps and the phone taps and the cell phone. A lot of this shit doesn't even happen. Calciopoli probably doesn't even really happen. So they were a primary role in your demise. And now all of a sudden, like I said, I don't have any ill will really towards Conte. Everyone can, have their piece towards him. He's still a Juve legend for me, but for Merda, there's no way you're gonna see me cheering for fucking those guys. I don't give a shit if it's Champions League. I don't care if we're fifth in coefficient and them winning boosts us back in. I don't give a crap. To me, there's a rivalry that has been changed forever because of 2006, and really, that's it. Um, I can't. I mean, some of the celebrations that I've seen, some of the tweets from hashtag hash is trash. Um, I don't know what's getting into people. I mean, us not winning Champions League is really doing a number to some fans, I guess,
Yeah,
James. But what are your thoughts on where's the
yeah,
line?
yeah. So you touched on it. I have no ill will towards Conte. To me, Conte is in legend status because he came and brought us back from the
Oh,
dark.
yeah, exactly.
I love a Conte coach team. Those 3 years at Juve were probably my favorite years. He made the best of a weak Italian national team. He
Yeah,
won at Chelsea. And if you watched Inter this year, they played well.
right.
Compared to they ran their ass off. They played well. That's where the admiration ends. They're
Yeah,
wearing black. They're wearing black and blue. Fuck them. I can't cheer for you. Now, the guys who are out there celebrating all like like we like because they lost, we won. No, that's a loser mentality. If they want to do that to us, great. Cheer. Oh yeah, well we made the Champions League final. That's
yeah,
fine. Like,
and they
and that's
celebrate it.
that's yeah, and they celebrate when we lose. They celebrate. That tells you how good you are. And to kind of see Juventini on the post today, I was disappointed because it's a loser mentality. Yeah, they won, they lost. Okay, great, you lost. But to celebrate that they lost, there's no reason to go celebrate.
To me,
Just say,
yeah,
okay,
well,
I wasn't going to cheer you on. I watched the game. It was a good game, very back and forth,
yeah.
and I knew they were going to blow it. I just didn't know Lukaku was going to blow it in the glorious fashion he did. First missing the breakaway, and then putting it in his own net. Uh, but it happened, and all right, great. They lost, and
Yeah,
next
t-
season starts. Don't go
again,
celebrating and honking your horn that they lost.
oh yeah, I agree 100%. And to me, this even works into what happened with Atalanta. Now, I can appreciate more of a club like people were saying, well, all Italian teams cheer for our loss. And I mean, again, to your point exactly, Juve's on a level above. You shouldn't be aspiring to one cheer, support, give shit to other teams on a lower level than where you're at. You want to stay above everybody else. So what are we stooping down to these stupid levels? And that's what my thing was with Atalanta. I have an admiration for the way they play, for the style, the amount of passion they've had this year. Do I really give a what I have liked to have seen PSG get knocked out? Hell yeah. Do I really care that they got knocked that Atalanta lost? And not really. It doesn't change my day one way or another. And it's again the same thing with Merda. If they lose, you know, I'm gonna make a couple jokes about it. Really, at the end of the day, does it change my one way or another? Not really. Um, I don't need to go out and necessarily, you know, keep pounding that home. I mean, I love the account that says how many times they haven't won. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna lie.
it's a great
Um,
account.
it's unbelievable. But besides that, I mean, hey, you guys lost. That's how it is. I mean, reap what you sow. You guys talk so much shit about when we lose in finals. Now you're gonna get the same fucking thing back. I mean, that's just how it is for a lot of fans. So you guys celebrate whatever way you need to. I'm on to the next season. But again, yeah, I was kind of surprised about how many fans were like, "I hope they win." I mean, that's just shocking to me, man. Especially all that's gone on, and yeah, just makes me speechless in a sense. Obviously, Champions League now is going to be coming on Sunday. PSG Bayern. It's been kind of a wacky, we see Lyon beating us and then they go on and
Beat City.
spanking City, which did I not tell you guys? City are bottlers. Any and I'm gonna say this now because I don't think I mentioned this before. Anyone wanting Guardiola, you can go have him, but go cheer for whatever team he's on because I don't want him in black and white stripes ever. This guy spent over, I don't know if you saw the one graphic, but those guys have been they've spent the most amount of money besides us, which was shocking to me. So obviously it doesn't calculate, you know, what you've sold your players for and what the balance is, right? That's really the most important part. But I mean, I don't want Guardiola at all. At all. You guys couldn't handle Sorry, and now all of a sudden you think Guardiola, because he has this stature, is going to be better for the players, guys. But before, what's going to happen is he's not going to get what he's going to who he's going to want, and he's going to walk away because every team he goes to, he gets whatever players he wants. And Juve can't afford that, and we can't. If the guy can't put a squad together and even get to a final, let alone win the thing, this is the guy we aspire to bring to the club. I don't
Not
see
only
it.
did he not do it with City, he
Oh,
also
exactly.
did not
Multiple
do it
times.
with Bayern.
Exactly. I'm shocked that this was the guy that everyone was hyping. I don't know what for. I mean, sure, he knows how to win league titles, but like, Sarri's not won a league title. What does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like, what does that even mean? I don't know. And you could say he came up against some good teams, but like Lyon, really? Lyon, like, oh man. At least get up against Bayern and go out gracefully. You know what I mean? Like that's one thing. Again, Atalanta would have been nice to see them come through. I'm so disappointed in Red Bull though. They gave really PSG nothing
Yeah.
to sniff up. I would have rather have seen like an Atleti go to the semifinals there, and I guarantee you that game would have been way different if you put Atletico Madrid in there compared to Red Bull. I know some people were saying their wingers were out or their fullbacks were out or something, but come on, like 3-1 to PSG, and now we got to hear that shit. And one, you got to cheer for the freaking Germans, and then
Yeah.
two, you get fucking possibility of PSG even getting a sniff at the chance to be in the big dance. But like, I guess
No,
I don't
but
know.
we know
A lot of people
we know
respect
PSG
Bayern,
is
but
gonna PSG is gonna bottle it. We know that.
bro,
We know they're gonna
I don't even
bottle
want
it.
to think about it this Sunday. To be honest, I don't even want to think
Yeah.
about it, man. Like
No, but since this restart, I mean, the German league came back first. And
Liverpool winning before us was enough. Now if PSG goes in and
no,
wins this thing,
it
bro,
won't. It
we
won't happen. It won't
I
happen.
thought Atalanta getting to the next round would have made us look bad, but if oil money wins, oh god.
No, it just won't. Watching that Bayern team, the way they play, they're a machine.
Oh yeah, they are looking
I,
phenomenal. But you never know in a one game though. That's what scares me. You never know the referee, he puts his cards away. You don't know sometimes with these games.
yeah, if you look at the back four of Bayern compared to any of the back fours that PSG played against, it's boys versus men. So this
True
should
enough.
be this should
True.
be. I think that will cancel that out. And then Davies.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be
I
phenomenal.
mean,
Phenomenal player.
you got two Canadians here talking about
Yeah.
uh, the greatest soccer player who's come out of Canada,
Yeah.
the
If you think about it, yeah.
the fastest kid. So um, I, I I see him doing something great, whether an assist or a goal. That's going to be game defying. So
Yeah, let's see what happens, guys. Stay tuned. I might be dropping a video just specifically talking about the Champions League final and with a couple of my buddies. We're more of like fans of other teams. Obviously not in Serie A, but we'll see if we can make that happen. Funny enough, though, I forgot to mention it obviously at the top of the podcast, but the jersey you are wearing right now is a beauty of a jersey.
Yeah. So I
Now,
actually put this on
was
for
it
Al.
because me and Al? Okay,
So
then.
it was. I saw the tweet. So as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, I'm a father of 6. I got 5 girls. They love the pink. So every time I say, "Oh, what shirt should Daddy wear for the game?"
That's the
They
one.
always pick the pink one.
That's a
Yeah.
nice jersey, though. I like that jersey. I always like that jersey. I don't know what it is.
Now the one thing that I will give to Al as one of the older jerseys, you can kind of see there. It's
Stupid
got
mesh at the bottom.
the mesh at the bottom. That means that you would actually have to tuck this
Tuck
one
'em.
in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why Nike did that, but I mean, hey, whatever. It is what it is. They did that with the home as well, which I thought was the strangest thing. But yeah, it's a the tuck look. But that's not a tablecloth jersey. Those are clearly X's. I don't know what 188p visuals and like I told Al, I said you can double tap your cell phone to zoom in into the photo. I don't know what tablecloth. Maybe it's the salmon color. Maybe he's not a big fan, even though he is from
Yeah,
BC.
it is
So
a
I don't
light.
know.
It is a lighter pink. Yeah,
He's from
compared
BC.
to
They love their salmon over there.
yeah.
But anyways, beautiful jersey. I got one of those as well from my uncle. So it's in the collection. For me, the ugliest jersey is that green. Like I said, that stupid gimmick um, of a collection that Nike did, where they brought these wild colors with all of their teams. Where one was like uh, the green, like this lime green. I think Barca had like a turquoise or something. Roma had a really weird color, like a brown or whatever it was, and then they got added in because Nike took over for them. Who else had a weird color? There was one that was like bright pink too. It was weird collection.
Yeah,
Hor- hor-
millennial.
Horrible idea from Nike, but they seem to have smartened up and like actually know how to make kits. Where Adidas is making Halloween kits. And speaking of Halloween kits, let me get these out for you guys. So I said what I got in the mail. See if I can pull these out quickly. I want to get you guys the right one. These bad boys here. No, I love shoes. So a little exclusive if nobody's got them. We got the new Ultra Boost here, boys and
Ooh,
girls. We got the Halloween edition, as I'm gonna be calling it from now on. Juventus on the back, is that the right way? I think so.
yeah.
But I mean, like I said, 180 euros, you're gonna get these. It's gonna cost you the same as an Ultra Boost if you buy them. One, it's because of this technology that I think is awesome for your feet. I always usually wear Ultra Boost when I'm going running, but this is not a plug. Adidas is not paying me because barring them actually making an Ultra Boost, which I thought was a cool idea, literally the colorway could have been further from what we wanted. I mean, a nice black and white pair would have been sweet. That really would have made me happy. But you know, I like to buy shoes. I like to buy running shoes, kicks, whatever you want to call them. So these are the
So
latest pickup. But
my wife is not listening. So was that a store purchase or the Juve site?
Adidas Canada. So that's
Adidas
where
Canada.
I kind of snagged them first before telling anybody, and then uh, dropped it like kind of covertly. If anyone was even listening, but yeah, I know they definitely had them on. I think they still have a lot on Adidas Canada. So any Canadians looking to get them there. You're gonna get your free shipping. It's gonna save you that conversion and stuff like that. Don't get them off the Juve website. They're still making their money the same way, anyways. So,
Yep.
um, again, just a little tip to save you guys. Plus, the sizing might be a little bit better for you because, again, you're in North America and I think they have them in like UK or EU sizing. So, which again, it's pretty easy to convert, but again, more of a. And then yeah, the new jerseys are in the mail. I still got a show. I don't know if you guys want to see this, but like I got the stuff that I bought on my last drop. If you guys want to check that out, let me know in the comments or on Twitter. Maybe I'll just do like a merch. We'll kind of show those off, take some nice photos of them, and some of the other stuff that I have coming in the. I'm guessing they'll be here by the end of the week, but and then hopefully you guys don't freak out when I got my Roma jerseys in because those are phenomenal. I have a special spot in my heart for the Roman clubs or the Lazio clubs, but yeah, so I picked up those are beauties. Talk about a way to make jerseys. Nike, they're on point. I don't know what it is. Nike's on point for the most part, unless you're a Merida fan. But then I don't know if you saw some of the memes that were going around with the checkerboard jersey, but that's just priceless. I think they should take the Ronaldo Cinque Maggio and just put them in each one of those squares. It's gonna look perfect. But that's really it for me. I mean, Ronaldo fans really wilding. Oh, that's my last point. Ronaldo fans, like I said in the last podcast, Juve is infinite. Ronaldo is finite. We are gonna be here whether you like it or not. Okay? Why you think? Why you somehow think that a club should be making decisions based off of your one true love is beyond me, but whatever. If you want to think that, that's fine. I got a special GIF coming out for you guys soon. Um, you're gonna like it. But I don't understand. Like even some Juve fans, and this beats me. They were somehow like, oh, we're wasting Ronaldo's years, and like I don't know if you saw those tweets after we lost to Lyon, but they're like, "Oh, like I feel so bad for Ronaldo," and you feel bad for Ronaldo? Are you shitting me? You got to feel bad for Juve fans. We've been waiting how many years to win this damn trophy, and you're feeling bad for a guy that makes 31 million net a season. Is living in a life of luxury, and that's who you feel bad for? Are you kidding me? These are supposed Juve fans. You feel bad because we were somehow ruining his career. Oh, sorry, he's got 5 Champions League titles. We haven't had one champion. Like I've seen, I was born into one, and we only got one more after that. So what? I don't understand quite clearly who's apologizing for Ronaldo living this horrible life at Juve. I'm sorry, I don't see it, guys. So that's just my, one little spiel on that. I don't know if you got any comments, James, but like man, some of the shit that comes out on Twitter just fucking mind-boggling.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, we got two great players in Ronaldo and Dybala. Those two guys in the dressing room like each other. They play for each other. They play for the jersey. Why are the fans fighting with each other? At the end of the day, buy in, you Ronaldo fanboys. This is Juventus.
It's done, man.
We're
Like
gonna win it. When the Champions League, when we do win the Champions League, it's gonna say Juventus winning the Champions League. It's not gonna say Ronaldo FC.
yeah, and that's it. And I mean, hey, at least if you want to do your part, if you want to keep crying about us not getting players, buy some actual jerseys. Go to Juve store, buy the home jersey, the away jersey, the third jersey,
Stick
Ronaldo,
Ronaldo in the back. Yeah, go
whatever you
get
want to
all
do.
three in Ronaldo.
But make sure
Pay
you're
the
buying
money.
3 jerseys.
Yeah, pay the money so we can get a midfielder that you need.
Because all I hear is this chirping about, oh, we bring in so much money, and then I'm literally asking, well, how many jerseys are you guys buying a year? Oh, well, that's not an important question. Oh, well, or no response. What do you mean it's not an important response? Like that's the whole dynamic of us, getting to where we need to be. So I mean, again, it's all bullshit. I like to have a good time on Twitter. I like to bust balls, to be honest, and have a good time with those losers. But to me, I usually know who I'm talking. I know when I go into a conversation, I know where it's gonna go. And with Juve fans, 99% of the time, it's a good time. Uh, some people can handle going back and forth. with ideas some people can't, and then you get personal shots about how the podcast isn't viewed by anybody. But I mean, I gotta say, there's been a hell of a lot of support so far, and again, whether I've said this in the past, whether it's one person listening, it wants to listen to this every week, or 60 or 1,000 or whatever, doesn't matter to me. I appreciate all the support I can get, and I love hearing your guys' feedback, and I love having you guys on because even that last episode with Far was such a great walk down memory lane. We hadn't talked in a really long time, and obviously comments here and there, happy birthday, stuff like that. But it was such a good moment for me, and to see her again, talk to her again, see how she's doing, even before we had like usually before the podcast, unless we're on a time constraint or we're talking about family, life, Juve, some stupid things, some things we don't want to say on camera, whatever the hell may be. But um, it's always a good time over here, so that's all I can ask for. And again, James, I want to just say thank you for coming on. I've been such a pain in the ass to you. I'm gonna admit it. I thank you for putting up with me because literally all week I've been telling James, let's go on, and then some circumstances have been on my side, or being tired or dealing with life. It's been tough, so I really got to thank him for coming on. We're already again on another 2 hour rampage, but I wanted him to say his piece because I did promise him, before the PSG or the Lyon game, excuse me, that he could come on. So I definitely want to him to come on. I'm gonna see if Mohammed can come on tomorrow morning ish and say his piece about the end of this. And yeah, and then we move on. Transfer special on Sunday with Louis. Guys, again, as always, iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Please drop a follow if you can. It really helps me, in a rating. It just helps us move up the charts, and allows more people to see the podcast. And again, all of that helps. I know sometimes it seems like um, it's an easy task, or does it is it really going to help this guy? And truly, I can say it does. Again, whether that be a follow on Twitter or a sub on YouTube, um, all of that helps, and I appreciate it wholeheartedly. Again, I do this for the fun of it, and I love to have you guys on, and I love to have people on and talk to new people. So stay tuned in the coming days. We're gonna get obviously some more new guests as well as into the next week, and you're gonna see a lot of guys that want to come on and shoot the shit and say their piece about what's gonna happen, what's gonna obviously happen. We're gonna do a preview of the new season, so that's coming up, and you're going to get some pretty interesting guests. Also, maybe some controversial guests. We'll see if we can set that up with some, murmurs on Twitter of what a podcast could be with certain guests. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And yeah, guys, again, thank you for the subs. I'm definitely going to work hard tomorrow to get that Del Piero draw done. And then, yeah, just continue on from there. There's some special edits going to be coming out, and look forward to that. My buddy Nilesh from La Vita Bianconera has done a phenomenal job. If you haven't seen what he's done on his page, or even the edits we've done together for my page, please check it out. It's a lot of good work he's doing, and I think he's going to be one of the top guys in the coming years, months, days that you're going to look to for these edits. And he's such a friendly guy. He's always open to doing even those jersey edits for everybody, making sure everybody gets theirs. Because I know a lot of others who quickly do it in a day and then forget. So definitely follow him. I got to shout him out. Got to shout Al out for all Juve cast because he's hit 3,500. Again, one of the staples for getting me out there. So show him the love, guys. Striped hearts. There's going to be new drops. Check them out. I think it's buy one get one free is the new offering. So if you haven't had the chance of getting the old one, and I believe 3,000 towards charity too. So again, unbelievable job, Al. Really, really, really good work there. And again, we continue on as always. Again, like I said, thank you again, James. Appreciate it. But yeah, guys, stay tuned. And as always, fino alla fine, forza Juventus. Thanks, everyone.